Good evening, Bucknutters. Welcome to I almost said Bucknuts Morning 5. I'm so used to saying that. What we learned live following Ohio State's 24-6 win at Washington. Extremely impressive by the Buckeyes. Coming into this game as 8-point favorites, got down to 7.5 at some places, and to win this game like they did, they completely dominated the second half. We're 2 minutes deep into the fourth quarter. Washington's offense had the ball once in the second half. Absolute domination. A little trestle ball today. We're going to talk about what we learned. I'm going to give you the 3 or 4, maybe 5 biggest things I learned. And then we're going to bring in Heath Schneider about 10 minutes from now. And then we're going to bring in the latest member of the Bucknuts family, the newest member, Garrick Hodge, who covers recruiting. Also, has covered the team for many years at 11 Warriors. And we're going to talk to Garrick about Ohio State recruiting and get his thoughts on the game. And then after Garrick, we're going to have Mark Neal on, the former co-host with Dan Rubin on Bucknuts Live. And of course, Dayton sports scene, the world famous Dayton sports scene, 1410 wing in Dayton. I used to come on with Mark every Tuesday when Mark used to do that. So we're going to have Mark Neal on. And then after post-game interviews, we have boots on the ground in Seattle. We're going to hear from Patrick Murphy and Steve Helwagen. But what a game from the Buckeyes. And welcome into the show. 24-6. And a lot of trepidation in the first half. I think we all probably expected that. This was not supposed to be an easy game. That's why the Buckeyes were favored, by right around a touchdown. So for them to win this game by 18 is just huge for this team. They still look, they look like the best team in the country to me. There's not a juggernaut team out there. I really like this Ohio State team. And I continue to think the biggest thing that we learned about this team today, and really through the first 4 games, best defense in the country. I don't think they have the best offense in the country. I think they have a very good offense. We're going to get to that in a moment. An offense that can help you win the national championship when you have the best defense in the country. I mean, there was no doubt they had the best defense in the country last year, right? They were number 1 in every meaningful category. Scoring defense, total defense, winning the national championship. I know that's not really technically a defensive category, but seriously, they were like number 1 in the country in defense last year. No one would argue that. And then you lose 8 starters off that defense. All of those 8 starters were NFL draft picks. None of them were 6th or 7th round picks. They were all 1st or 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th round picks. You lose your defensive coordinator on top of that. And then, dare I say, they might look even better? Let's wait on that, right? But, my gosh, I love this defense. So we learned that best defense in the country. Again, this Washington team, that's a really good offense. I know that the Ohio State's defense did not make them look that way. Got a lot of respect for this quarterback. You told me DeMond Williams was going to be that consistent throwing the football. He was 18 of 22. I'd be like, oh, crap, this might not go well. How about minus 28 rushing yards because of all this pressure they put on him? So best defense in the country, which leads into my next one, Caden Curry. Wow. We learned Caden Curry, no one was talking about him enough entering the season. A young man that was a solid player the last 3 years, waited his turn. A lot of credit to him, especially in this day and age of college football. Even 30 years ago, I'd give him his props for, sticking it out, not transferring. In this day and age where you can transfer, not sit out, go chase a bag, Caden Curry would have been a hot commodity in the transfer portal, but he stuck it out, and look at him. So tonight, his career game, 11 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. 11 tackles, 5 TFLs, 3 sacks for Caden Curry. So damn impressive. I'm happy for him. A young man that just waited his turn, was a big-time recruit, like I said, and, played a decent amount the last 3 years. Finally is a starter now, and man, he looks good. Caden McDonald is an absolute game wrecker as well. 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks for Caden McDonald. So if your name is Caden and you're on this team, it doesn't matter how you spell it. Could be C-A-D-E-N, could be K-A-Y-D-E-N. You're going to be wrecking the line of scrimmage, apparently. Jeez, Caden Curry and Caden McDonald, love it. And then you got Caden, I almost called him Caden Jackson Jr. Maybe we'll just nickname him Caden at this point. I got to kill a spider right there. Yeah, I just kill a spider with my bare hands. It probably isn't really sanitary. but Kenyatta Jackson Jr. with a sack as well. So I think that might have been one where like he was going to get him, and then the quarterback like tripped over his offensive lineman, but it didn't matter because Kenyatta was going to about ready to smack him anyway. So we've learned that Caden Curry, no one talked about him nearly enough, myself included, entering the season. And I liked him. Like I was thinking, oh, Caden Curry is going to be a solid player this year. No, he's not a solid player. He's a freaking game changer. I love it. This defense is awesome. We could talk on and on about this defense. We learned Bo Jackson is RB1. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he didn't start today, but this will be the last game in Bo Jackson's career at Ohio State that he does not start at running back. You know, the charade is over. There's no need to like be throwing like scraps to the dogs. Like Bo Jackson's a starter. He had 17 carries today, 80 yards. That doesn't do it justice. Every good running back, what do? More often than not, they fall forward after contact. He does that every time. CJ Donaldson gets knocked backwards a lot. James Peoples gets knocked backwards a lot. Bo Jackson's falling forward. 17 carries for Bo Jackson, 3 for James Peoples, 9 for CJ Donaldson. Doesn't matter who the starter is, really, if he's getting that many carries. He will be the starter going forward, though. There's no doubt about it. This will be the last game that he comes off the bench. And we got to talk about this. I touched on this a little bit. That second half domination. This is a tight game at halftime. I did feel good about it with Ohio State getting that touchdown late, 7-3, getting the ball to start the second half. They take up more than half of the third quarter, and they score a touchdown and make it 14-3. And you're thinking, geez, it's only 14-3, but it felt like game was almost over at that point. Almost. And then Washington, Ohio State's defense holds, punts to Ohio State. Brandon Ennis didn't fumble that one. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. And then Ohio State kicks a field goal. And it's like, and then Washington doesn't even have the ball again until 2 minutes deep in the fourth quarter. Just absolute second half domination. Then the Buckeyes tack on another touchdown, 17-3 in the second half alone. And it was just an absolute bludgeoning. All right. So those are the things I learned. I learned that Heath Schneider is my man in Amsterdam. I already knew that. How you doing, my man?
I am doing absolutely excellently. I hope that you are too, my friend.
I don't know how I couldn't be. I mean, I'm still basking. Maybe the glow's a little brighter than maybe I expected.
I think so too. There's I predicted an 18-point win, but I thought it was going to be 38-20.
No, don't bury the lead. No. You predicted an 18-point win.
I did in the
all right, he's Heath Schneider. Good night, everybody. Go out on a high note. Yeah, good job. Thank you, Heath. No.
I thought it'd be close and then they'd pull away in the second half. But I think everything about today is about growth as they and maybe moments in evolution. I don't know who was doing all of the play calling, if it was Brian Hartline and maybe Ryan Day overrode when it was 4th and 1, or it was 4th and 1, or it was whatever in the first half or the second half. But there was a definitive difference between what they were doing for most of the first half. Let's say the first 27 minutes of the first half and what they did the rest of the game. They were playing a game largely in a phone booth on offense for much of the first half. And I get it after the fumble on the punt return, and you had your defense out there again, and now they're a little gassed, so you're going to run and try to bleed some clock. I totally understand that. But what changed was they went into, instead of running the ball, they basically took short passes, drag routes, and screen plays. And I don't know what Julian Sands' average depth of target was for this game, but it has to be by far his lowest of the year. And they basically just took extended handoffs and turned them into getting players and receivers the ball in space. You have a guy who is extremely accurate. He finished at 79% completion rate today, and some of those were just throwaways that he didn't complete. But you're talking about essentially as doing an extended handoff, but getting the guy a ball in space so he can actually do something. We saw that on the little drag route that JJ ran to score at the end of the first half. We saw it on the release on the 4th down play late in the second half where, it was the same kind of lineup. I was expecting them to run the ball right into the backside of the offensive line again. They did exactly what I would have hoped. What I wanted to see in the first half actually was play action with the tight end release. I'll take what they did in the second half. The result, I think, would have been the same in the first half had they run that play. And so for me, I think it's growth for going back to Hartline. If it was Hartline that was doing all that play calling and realized that he had to make the adjustment in real time, then kudos to him for that kind of growth that 2 years ago we would not have seen. And if it was Ryan Day that was doing the play calling and he overtook in the middle of it, then kudos to Ryan Day for realizing that change had to be made in real time, because that was, to me, the difference in the game when it came to offense. The defense, outstanding. They're absolutely, they are. We overuse the term and want to have the term back from the late 90s of the Silver Bullets, but doggone, they look really, really executional out there.
Heck yeah, they do. Let's go back to offense for a minute. I mean, Julian saying, I think we all said coming into the year, like we were all pretty confident that this kid was going to be a really good quarterback at Ohio State at some point. My question was, how early? Well, he's arrived. I'm not saying he's arrived like this is his peak, but like I just couldn't be more impressed with his poise. Like he's got the nickname the human jug machine. We know that the accuracy on point, but just like his poise is just. And they didn't even unleash him till the second half, and even then, I wouldn't even consider that unleashed. I continue to learn that Julian Sayin is the real deal.
Dude does not get rattled. I don't know if it's that California cool that he has, is that swag or what, but in the fall camp, what we heard was that he would get pressure and he'd get skittish. I've not seen him get skittish. He's had pressure. He's not been skittish. He just looks to me completely different, to be honest with you. And I had a friend of mine, a couple of friends over for the game. And I looked over at my buddy Matt and I said, this is, to me, a completely different Julian Sayin than what I saw in the spring game. It wasn't that he was inaccurate in the spring game, but the ball to me didn't have the zip that I see now. He didn't have the decisiveness that I see now. He is a very quick reader of the defense. His release is fantastically fast. And so what I see now is somebody that has it's not a complete, metamorphosis. It is just an evolution of him as a quarterback and more comfortable in that role. I think they did the smart thing in that first half, kind of protect him a little in terms of, hey, the first half started out exactly the way I wanted it to. Washington started with the ball, they go 3 and out. We drive down and we're about to score and everything's looking good. It's going to take the crowd out of the game. Of course, it was a 4th and 1 that we didn't get, and that was an entire beginning of a weird progression of the game, but it straightened itself out. But through all of that, nothing about that with Julian Sayin was, hey, I'm rattled. Hey, you got to protect me. I think they protect him more than they need to, the coaches, because I think you could really, really take the reins off this guy and just let him throw and let him be who he is. It was interesting to me at one point, Gary Danielson called him a gunslinger. I think he's the exact opposite of a gunslinger. When I think of that, I think of a guy who's trying to squeeze the ball into narrow passages.
Right.
Yeah. Brett Favre, 100%. I'm going to lead the league in touchdowns and interceptions. Right. And that's not who this guy is. He is way too accurate for that. And we talked about it last week. It's not just that he gets the ball to the receiver. He gets the ball to the receiver in a catchable position that he can continue on in stride. And that's a rarity. Even at college level, it's a rarity. They talk about, high school, you have to hit the door or you have to hit the wall and on a barn. In college, you have to hit the door. And in the NFL, you have to hit the doorknob, right? He's hitting the doorknob is where he's at, as far as I can see. And I say just take all of the reins off and let him be who he is.
Yeah, I couldn't be more happy with the way Julian Saint's playing, especially being a redshirt freshman. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Patrick Murphy had a great story. If you guys haven't read that, get on Bucknuts. It's like he interviewed his high school coach, his quarterback coach, his youth football coach, the Carlsbad kid, Julian Sand, the human jugs machine. Before I get you out of here, man, any parting thoughts? Anything else you learned about this game that we haven't brought up yet? I know special teams were not special, but they – tell you what, the kickoff coverage other than once looks good, but the punts on both sides, not good. But any parting thoughts, Heater?
Yeah, parting thought. I mean, the natural thing is, hey, 4-0, you get a chance to be 5-0. But I think it's a couple of things as parting shots. Number one, you went across the country in a very loud place, very hostile place, 3 hours of time difference, and you came out with not just a win, you came out with a decisive win. You won by 18 points, and you left the other side of that having grown that much more. The other thing I would say is to the rest of college football, this defense is for real. Matt Patricia is an absolute alchemist back there, and he is taking things and creating gold on everything he touches. Well, let's say silver on everything he touches.
I almost put my Cincinnati Reds hat on and put a pencil in there, but like, I saw of course, because I was telling my friends that there's no way this will happen. I preface it with, because I said earlier today we're doing the pregame show. I'm like, we're living in a world right now where the Reds could clinch a playoff berth today. I knew it wouldn't happen. The Mets just beat the Marlins, but the Guardians, look at your Guardians, man.
Go Guards,
you guys. So hopefully the Reds win tonight, and then they'll still have the tiebreaker over the Mets. They would then, need to win tomorrow, or unless the Mets lose tomorrow. But right now, the Reds, I guess they're technically a half game behind the Mets. I did not put my pencil in my hat, but maybe for a future edition.
Hey, it's my National League team. There's my Rose jersey and everything. So go Reds, go Guards. I'm all for it, bud.
And you're such a good friend. I'd say this even if you didn't get me a Tom Browning signed perfect game ball. And personalized to me. You're just such a good guy.
My man.
All right. I appreciate you. My man in Amsterdam, Heath Schneider. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Heath.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Speaking of good guys, making his debut on What We Learned Live, the newest member of the Bucknuts family, Garrick Hodge. Welcome in. We brought him. We stole him away from 11 Warriors, and we're friends with the guys at 11 Warriors, but we're happy to steal Garrick away from them. Garrick, welcome in.
Thanks, Dave. That's a hell of an introduction. I hope this goes well than the commentary around Gary Danielson, because, oh, my God, that was pretty brutal. But, nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah, and we should probably remind each other that CBS does own – no, it doesn't matter. I actually like Gary overall, but he clearly was rooting for sure for Washington. Like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really notice it because I try not to listen too much to the commentary because I'm just so focused in on the actual game on the field itself. But it was more of an observation than anything. I kept reading our board, and it was, man, Gary Danielson hates Ohio State. And I was like, I never really noticed. And then I started paying attention, and I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. Well, let's just get back to on-field stuff. But, yeah, I just thought it was more interesting than anything else.
All right, let's start with recruiting, then we'll get back to the game. And what do you think Bucknutters need to know most about recruiting right now? Sorry to put you on the spot like that. It can be more than one thing, obviously. Just give us the latest on the recruiting front.
Man, Dave, they get a big win on the road, and you want to talk about recruiting first. I'm just kidding.
You're a recruiting insider, man.
Yeah, I know. All right. Toulon don't read version. They're working on some 2026 flips at several different positions, linebacker, defensive line. Several other positions. I think they're going to have a really interesting month and a half coming up here, and pretty interested to see what they do on the trail. How's that for Toulon don't read, but stay tuned to Bucknuts for more updates in coming weeks.
By being short, you're going to make my guy Nate happy. Nate on YouTube. This is the first one I'm reading for the show. Nate on YouTube. Why the hell are we talking about recruiting right now? Fair enough, Nate. All right, let's not talk anymore. I had to ask Garrick. He's our newest recruiting. Now Garrick has covered the team for many years for 11 Warriors. He's been to St. Elmo with me and Wagon having some of that great shrimp cocktail. So he's a veteran of the beat. All right, so what's your biggest takeaway from this game? Biggest takeaways?
My biggest takeaway is obviously Matt Patricia is just a mad scientist defensively, right? But more specifically, I know myself, I don't know if you did, Dave, but I had a lot of questions about the defensive line coming into this year with just losing so many starters across the board. Where are they going to go to fill that depth? Where are they going to go to fill that production? And Caden Curry and Caden McDonald are earning themselves a heck of a lot of money right now. 3 sacks for Caden Curry, I think 2 for McDonald, if I read the scoreboard correctly. And I mean, Caden Curry was all over the field today, 11 tackles. And of course, they were benefited by some stellar play from the linebackers and the defensive backs that really covered well and made Williams' life hell. And but in the trenches, they just won. And they continue to win week in and week out. And I don't know if I thought it was going to be a deficiency, but it was definitely a thought in the back of my head, like, well, they're losing a lot of NFL players at the production. Where are you going to go? And it looks like they have NFL players at that position right now. That's my biggest takeaway, first and foremost, especially on the defensive end of the ball.
Bo Jackson, a lot of people want to talk about that. I think there's no doubt this is his last game or he's not going to be the starting running back. And it doesn't even matter. He carried the ball 17 times today. I continue, not that he set the world on fire today, but the sign of a great running back, they typically fall forward after contact. He does that. Donaldson seems to get knocked back a lot despite being 232 pounds. Peoples gets knocked back. I just love everything about Bo Jackson. I think this is going to be the last time in his Ohio State career that he's not trotting out there with the starters.
Yeah, man, Bo runs hard. I made a joke to a lot of my friends when Pro Football Focus came out with the stat that he's the highest graded freshman through 3 games. And, PFF, some people love it, some people hate it. But I think it's more amusing analytics than anything else. But you can't not take a running back named Bo Jackson, right? And, I know it's just a nickname. It's not his actual real name, but his real name is Lamar Jackson. So you're named after 2 Heisman Trophy past winners. But no, Bo's incredible. Every time he runs, I think he's going to go down, and then he gets an extra 3-4 yards out of the play, and he's just tough to bring down, man. His effort, his tenacity, his speed. He's so young still. He's new to the position. He's only played it a couple years. I can't wait to see what he turns into the rest of the year and going forward in his career.
Nate has a recruiting question. What about offense? No, I'm kidding. All right. Edric Houston. Woo. Not a good penalty there.
Yeah.
Owen Malone started again. I was thinking, Edric's going to be fine. They just were disciplining him because he had the 2 penalties against Grambling, and then he didn't start against Ohio University. I don't know, man. I mean, Cade McDonald's fantastic. So they have maybe the best 1 tech in the country, but I'm still concerned about that 3 tech situation for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Edric is completely healthy. I know
That's true.
I know he's had that. He said he's fine. He said that the knee's not bothering him anymore. His health, regardless of where it is, doesn't excuse the penalty, of course. But fortunately for him, he has really talented defensive players around him that backed it up. They got to stop twice on that possession. I guess, if you're going to nitpick something on defense, that would be it, right? Between Taiwan Malone. But especially after that penalty, I would think that Taiwan's probably going to stay there at the starter for the near future. But, yeah, they seem to probably rotate it in a lot and tried different things with that spot. But all in all, I think Edric will find his footing sooner rather than later, assuming that he is fully healthy.
Where are you at on Julian Sand? I'm very impressed with him. His poise, just obviously his accuracy, but just he's further along than I expected and I know number 1 quarterback in the country. He's not a true freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. He's here last year, Ryan Day. These receivers, there was every reason to expect this. I thought it might take a little longer to get to this point. He even ran the ball a couple times today. I knew he wasn't a statue back there. It was good to see him run the ball a little bit. I couldn't be more impressed with Julian Sand after 4 starts.
I mean, he's poised, man. He really is. It doesn't seem like anything bothers him. I'm going to borrow a phrase that's one of your favorite athletes. He's almost like Joe Cool out there, right? Just calm, cool, collected. Love the release. He gets it out quick. He senses pressure really well for someone his age. He stepped up a couple times, and even if he didn't make a crisp throw, I know he undersold a couple of them when he felt a little bit of pressure. But he probably the best thing I can say about him, at least that's not very sexy to say, but he knows when not to take a sack, especially when they're in that red zone field goal range that don't make a bad play worse, right? His pressure awareness is just really incredible to me. And he kind of earned the trust of Ryan Day and Brian Hartline as the game went on, right? Like they came out pretty conservative. The game plan in the first half kind of surprised me because Washington's strength on defense was its run defense. And they came out, just run. And hey, to their credit, it worked. They were getting chunk plays, and ultimately they got stopped on that 4th and 1 early. But I thought they were going to air it out a lot, mostly because Washington couldn't stop a nosebleed in their past 3 games with their defensive backs, plus their best cornerback was out and forced a true freshman to have to step up for them. But, yeah, I'm really impressed with saying, man, everything you ask him to do, the guy passes every test. And I think they're going to continue to put more on his plate. And I see no reason not to be very optimistic with Julian.
So I was asked today, like, if you take Ohio State or the field to win the national championship, who would you take? I'm taking the field. If you had to take one team to win the national championship, who would it be? I said Ohio State. If you had to take one team, who would it be?
I'm trying not to just say Ohio State by default, just to, throw red meat to the fans, but
Bucknutters love red meat, man.
But I have to say Ohio State. Like, I mean, maybe results pending tonight. Maybe Oregon will look awesome, or maybe Georgia will look really good, right? But yeah, I have to say Ohio State. The defense looks almost as good as it did last year, if not on par, which is something I did not think I would be saying 4 games in. The offense keeps getting better every week. After the first Texas game, my first concern with the offense was, the running game. And granted, I guess a disclaimer there is that, Texas has one of the best defensive lines, if not the best of line in all of football. So, it's not exactly a fair test to grade there. But with the emergence of Bo Jackson really does it for me. That they have an electric running back like they did with Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, right? They have, obviously, the 2 top wide receivers in the contest. I know he hasn't been very active, but Max Clare, when he gets going, is an incredible weapon down the middle and down the seams when Julian Sayin lets it rip. I can't really see a team that's more complete than Ohio State right now, especially with how complimentary Matt Patricia has been and picking up right where Jim Knowles left off, if not even better.
We'll get you out of here on this kind of a long thing. I mean, like around the world of college football today. Let's look at it. So, like Illinois came back, they beat USC. I think that's good for Ohio State because Ohio State doesn't play USC. They have to go play Illinois. That'll be a ranked Illinois team for sure. Indiana, after trailing, came back. They beat Iowa 20-15. Texas A&M over Auburn. Nothing crazy so far in the world of college football. Your thoughts on what we've seen so far today, and then, of course, your thoughts on Penn State against Oregon and Alabama, Georgia. Who do you like in those games?
Well, I guess what we've seen today, let's go rapid fire. Arkansas defense, really bad. Sam Pittman, probably fired by 6 p.m. Sunday evening. Bobby Petrino, second go around, let's go. Wear the neck brace, let's go. Notre Dame, offense good, defense still bad. Illinois, I felt really bad for them last week because they had, I think, by the end of the game, 6 defensive backs that were hurt. And while I thought that Indiana was the better team all along, I didn't think that they were that much better than them. And, I mean, their secondary was just depleted. They were throwing all kinds of guys out there that, God bless them, but they just weren't ready to play yet, right? So USC, I mean, defense has always been its Achilles heel, right? And it reared its ugly head today. I saw Illini blew a late lead. I can't say I had too much eyes on it, but I did see that they drove down for the game-winning field goal, and have to tip your cap to them. All right, really quick. I cannot pick Big Game James to win a big game. I just can't do it. Right. I know it's a whiteout. I know it's in Happy Valley. I know they're more experienced, but the next time I pick him to win a big game will be my first. I just can't do it, and his track record says otherwise. And if you bet against him every time he's in a big game, you're going to make a lot of money. Georgia, Alabama, I'm going with Georgia. I think home field will prevail them, and I also think that the Florida State game last night showed that Alabama just isn't very good. Plus, their signature win, if you even want to call it that, is against Wisconsin, and Lord knows it's not going great for Luke Fickell right now. So, yeah, I'm going with Oregon and Georgia tonight.
All right. You had a heck of a great debut. Nice job. Way to make a great first impression, Garrick.
Thanks, Steve, and best of luck to your Reds. I know they're in a fun position right now.
They've already won me money, so now it's like
well, all right, it's great.
It's literally house money at this point. Yeah, their over under for wins was 78.5. And I told everybody that was a lock, and I ended up being right. But then there were some moments I was like, I shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. But yeah, 78.5 was their over. They're now they got 82 wins. Let's get two more, and then next year we'll have the Reds White Sox World Series.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I tell you what, man. People are loving Garrick. All right, man. Good job. Appreciate it, man. You have a good one.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. All right. He is Garrick Hodge, the newest member of the Bucknuts family. Great stuff. All right. Caden McDonald. Yeah, I mean, we can't talk enough about anybody named Caden on this defensive line. We're hoping to hear from Mark Neal shortly from Minneapolis. It's not because they're playing Minnesota next week. I just now thought of that, actually. But Mark Neal, my good friend, who now lives in Minneapolis after years of living in Dayton. There's Mark Neal right now. But, real quick, the Cadens are just unbelievably great. Caden McDonald, if there's a better one tech in the country, I'd love to see them. I mean, he's a one-man wrecking crew in there. And then you get Caden Curry is just fantastic. They're going to be moving Caden Curry inside at times. Not that much tonight. I mean, 3 sacks for Caden Curry, 2 sacks for Caden McDonald. It's not just the sacks, though. Those guys are just crushing it. Nate, thoughts on the red zone struggles? They cleaned it up late, but yeah, it's a concern. I think getting Bo Jackson in there instead of Donaldson will help, because even though Donaldson's at least 15 pounds heavier than Jackson just seems to – well, it doesn't seem to. He's just way better at slipping tackles, breaking tackles, falling forward. I'm glad Ohio State has CJ Donaldson. All right. I'm glad he's on this team. But there's no question Bo Jackson is the best running back. There's no question Mark Neal is the czar of Dayton radio. Let's welcome in Mark Neal. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, pal. Welcome on a Saturday. How are you?
Oh, man, it feels like a Tuesday 10 years ago. You and I just chatting about the Buckeyes. For those who don't know Mark Neal, the longtime sports director at 1410 Wing, station director, Wing AM in Dayton, ESPN Wing 1410, and also was, along with Dan Rubin, the co-host of Bucknuts Live, the pregame show. All right, so your main takeaway from this game, my friend?
I just am impressed by the defense. Like everybody else, just echoing the same thing. All I heard, Dave, and you and I love to reference things from 30 years ago. This one may only be from 20 years ago, but we kept hearing we were going to compete when we got bigger bodies in the middle of the defensive line and speed at the linebackers. I mean, that's what this defense is. They fly around. This is like the defense you always want to see. Just swarm ball. It's like 5-year-old soccer. Just everybody's on the ball. They just swarm to the ball. Everybody's got speed, size, both. There's talent on every level. And it's just amazing that you can lose the talent you lose and just lock and reload with this team. It's the defense right now. The offense is still feeling themselves out as they should. Redshirt freshman quarterback. True freshman starter, as you say, Dave. I mean, I don't know how he's not. Bo Jackson next week. You got Jeremiah as just the ace in the hole whenever you want to go to it. The offense is still kind of feeling itself out like hitters early in a baseball season. But right now the defense is locked and loaded. And, man, the speed, it's hard to take your eyes off.
People are loving the pencil. I love it too. Nice job.
You brought it up. I had to do it, Dave. I never wear hats, so I've got a Twins hat with a Ford logo in the front. I never wear hats, so that's the best I got.
I love it. You got to keep it on now, don't you think?
If you want, I can keep it on.
I love the Matt Patricia look. We're gonna have Ohio State fans for sure with pencils in their hats at games for sure. I'm surprised that I didn't see that for the Ohio University game. It's gonna happen. Yeah, this defense, they were the best in the country last year. They might be even better this year. No, I know. That's why I say might be. I love this defense, though. I can't believe how good they are.
Yeah, and you look at guys like Caden Curry. It reminds me a lot of what Cody Simon did. Sat, played some. then start when they get that opportunity. That stuff's going by the way of the dodo with the transfer portal being what it is. Guys that are willing to sit like that and then pop like they have been. This has been college football going on 80 years. A guy sits like this and then has a huge final year or two, and after he waits his turn. And Caden Curry's the next one, like Cody was a year ago. And he looked like JTT against Penn State. Pick your Penn State game. He just was all over the field. Every time I looked up, I saw Curry 92 on the field. So it was just amazing.
You mentioned Bo Jackson earlier. Yeah, I just feel like there's just no doubt. I understand coming into the year, trying to get the veterans the ball, knowing Bo Jackson's going to be a big part of the offense. It just seems like there's just no doubt now he's going to be RB1 moving forward. I mean, he was basically RB1 tonight anyway. He had 17 carries.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they tried to get CJ a bunch of carries on that first drive. I swear he had 4 on the first drive. It was like, let's get him a bunch of carries immediately so when we pull him out, we can say, hey, look, you have the ball. Running backs have a way of just taking the job, don't you think, Dave? I mean, over the years, you can just tell. It's almost like unlike any other position where a guy just is like shows himself to be better. Maybe you see it more on the defense because they're just in the play all the time. But on offense, running backs just seem to be the guy. And everybody out there, I just can't imagine what percentage of Bucknutters would say otherwise. Bo Jackson, to me, is the best, most impactful running back on the team. Coach Cooper this week on Buckeye Roundtable said something to the effect of you need a pair and a spare. So you need your running backs. But Bo's, to me, is RB1 and going forward and should be.
Julian saying I continue to be impressed with him all the way around. His poise, obviously his accuracy. Like I just 4 games into his career could not be more impressed with young Julian saying the Carlsbad kid.
He's the kind of quarterback that I like, especially at Ohio State, in the sense that just don't make big mistakes. You got the better roster almost 100% of the time. I'm not going to get hyperbolic here. It's 90-something, but Ohio State's got the better players often. I love quarterbacks that make high percentage passes, complete them, and let the stars around you make plays. You've got guys that are going to catch the ball and move the ball, yak yardage. Just complete the pass. Just keep matriculating down the field, boys. And that's Julian saying. And he runs the ball enough. It's not like he's ripping the ball out of Bo Jackson's hands at the mesh point and taking off. No, he's running when he needs to run, like a quarterback should, unless you're Justin Fields or somebody, a Lamar Jackson type player. He runs enough. He'll run enough. He'll stay healthy, for crying out loud, but complete passes. And boy, does he do that as a redshirt freshman. It's amazing.
I like this offensive line too, man. I mean, Tegra's got to clean it up a little bit. That was just one penalty, though. I mean, that's overall for the offensive line, that's good. I mean, Tegra's got to clean it up a little bit, but I really like this offensive line, man.
Well, I mean, as they said in Godfather 3, our true enemy is yet to reveal himself. I think the big enemy to this offensive line may not be in the rear view yet on the schedule. And they'll get tested by somebody, I think, not to say anything about Texas is awfully good. But as we go further and further down the field, we're going to see games where we're going to pull our hair out. Maybe with the offensive line, maybe not. They're excellent. They're all a lot of them are new. A lot of them are in their first couple of starts. But boy, they've looked good so far, for sure. Absolutely. I have no knock against the offensive line. I'm ready to see it be tested more, I guess, is the best way to say it.
So a lot of people in the chat, and I agree with this, are like a little frustrated at the lack of downfield passing. I know listen, they win the game 24-6. No one expected it to be quite that much. I think for our Bucknuts, I think we all predicted like a 10, 11-point win. I don't know if anybody predicted 8. Heater predicted actually an exact 18-point win. Most of us were like 10, 11. So it feels like nitpicking to say this. 24-6, your defense is probably the best in the nation. But there was a lack of downfield passing this game. They were a little conservative. Your thoughts on that?
I just felt like this going in, it would be kind of the way they approached the Texas game. Just keep it simple, stupid. Don't make big mistakes. If it's close, who cares? As long as we got more points, kind of feeling. Just first road game for Julian. first road game for this group of players. A lot of guys are first-time, full-time starters. Just keep it simple. I mean, what could have been, Dave? They they could have punched it in on that one drive where they got deep into Washington territory, and then the Ennis fumble. This could have gotten away a whole lot more than it did. What really happened to me was what Patricia was able to do with that mush rush and keeping Williams in the pocket. A guy that is averaging 70, 80 yards rushing a game, had negative yards rushing today, and was not a factor on the ground. And that allows your offense to do a lot of things and be confident and be careful. Downfield passing, I guess if we're picking nits, then there you go, Dave, I guess.
All right, good stuff. My man Mark Neal, my friend, former host of Dayton Sports Scene and Bucknuts Live. I appreciate you joining me. Hopefully this won't be the last time that you're joining me for What We Learned Live this season.
I love joining you, Dave. You know it. I listen every week, of course. Take care, buddy, okay?
All right, man. You too. Appreciate you, man. All right, Mark Neal. And then we're going to go right now. You are looking live at Husky Stadium. Patrick Murphy, after Ohio State's 24-6 win over Washington. 24-6. Pretty damn impressive. Your main takeaway from this game, Patrick?
Well, first of all, I liked what Mark was saying. I think you should definitely have him on more. That was I only heard the end there, but pretty good assessment, I thought. Look, it was not the prettiest of games, especially in the first half. But the Buckeyes, as Ryan Day said a handful of times now, like style points aren't what they're focused on. It's getting better and winning games. And this was another one, as Mark just alluded to, like Texas, of just getting through it. Now, could they have made it a little bit easier on themselves in the first half, offensively at least? Yes. Julian Sayin, we just got done talking with him, was saying, the deep shots that they wanted to take weren't there, so they had to do some different things. And I think it was about sort of managing the game. I don't love the fact that it seems like they are still a little conservative with Julian Sayin. Like, if he's your quarterback, let him be your quarterback. But I thought in the second half, it looked more like what I expected in the first half. This offense is best when they can get the ball to those playmakers, right? And so I'd like to see more of that. But Ryan Day said, look, when you have a defense that's playing like this, he was asked by one of the reporters about through 4 games, this is historically good. I don't know exactly what the reference was, but it's got to be pretty good, I imagine, given what they've done. So I think when you have a defense like that, which Ryan Day was saying, you can afford to manage things a bit more offensively right now. And I think if you look back to last year, the offense really kind of came along as the season went on, and that was with more veterans on the team. So I think it will happen, but it is frustrating. I mean, even just watching it in the first quarter, it was just like, why aren't they getting the ball out there? Why are we running it over and over again? And instead of, using your weapons. So I think I felt that just like everyone else watching the game.
I want to get your main takeaways from the post-game press conference in just a moment. Before we get to that, the atmosphere there was on TV. It looked like there was a lot of Ohio State fans there. Yeah. How loud was? I mean, it seemed like if anything, the crowd noise was affecting Washington's offensive line, who had like 3 pre-snap penalties early. But just what was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it was great. Everything that you hear about this place, if you haven't been here, it was true at least today. The first time, Ohio State defense on the field first. The first time Ohio State's offense comes on and the crowd all gets up, like in the press box, similar to like Wisconsin, it just started to vibrate a little bit. And I looked at the guy next to me in the press box and just like, whoa, another Ohio State writer. So it was loud, no doubt about it. I thought the Buckeyes managed that well. Give credit, and a lot of the guys we talked to today did, including Ryan Day, Caden Curry. The Buckeye fans that were here, and you're right, there were a lot of them. They were loud as well. And maybe it's just from where we were sitting in the press box, was right above the main Ohio State section. But when Ohio State did positive things, or when it was either Edric Houston or Caden McDonald was out there pumping up the crowd in the third or fourth quarter, they got into it. So credit to Buckeye Nation for showing up and making the atmosphere even better, I thought.
All right, so post-game press conferences, like some main takeaways, what do we need to know that we might not already know from this game?
Well, we talked to both Caden Curry and Caden McDonald, who had, I think, like combined 700 sacks today. Caden Curry, I believe, tied the record for tackles for a loss in a game in Ohio State history. Both of them, talking about this defensive line and just kind of coming together. Caden Curry called it the no names because a lot of these guys have had to wait their turn to emerge and weren't really talked about even this offseason when we knew they were going to be starters. And he was asked, like, what happens when you're not no names anymore? And he said, we're going to always have this chip on our shoulder. And I think you're seeing that. Look, you go through these first few games. We're talking a couple weeks ago about like the pass rush and getting home and things like that. This was a guy that I thought they would have the most trouble with getting home. And, sometimes a mobile quarterback can get away, but sometimes he moves too much and leads to a sack. I just thought this was the Buckeyes playing really good rush discipline to keep him in there and then get to DeMond Williams Jr. So that was a big takeaway. I think also we talked with CJ Donaldson. He is frustrated about these short yardage situations. And he said he's working on getting his pads lower. He felt like he was let down, I guess I would say, by that fourth down early in the game, but was very excited about the touchdown, the reception that he caught, which was one that I think caught a lot of people off guard when they went for that on 4th and 1 and then threw it to the running back. So yeah, I think the main thing I would say is that they were happy to come out of here with a win. Everybody talked about how difficult this atmosphere was, and the Buckeyes end this 22-game win streak, which a couple of the guys admitted, that was a motivating factor. They are the Buckeyes, and they come play their game, and they expect to win in these games.
Hell of a good win. I mean, you go on a road in that environment, you're favored by 8 points, and you win by 18. I'm very impressed. All right, we'll get you out of here on this. So, I feel like we did talk a lot about Caden McDonald entering the year, and he might be even playing better than I expected. I expected a lot out of him. I don't think anybody, myself included, was talking enough about Caden Curry. I had him projected as a starter. As you mentioned, those guys were they were like a two-man wrecking crew up there. Everybody in the defense, I thought, played really well. But, the two Cadens, wow, they're good. I feel like Caden Curry didn't really get enough respect coming into the year.
I agree with you. I remember maybe a spring, early summer, on the front row message board, somebody was concerned. I don't remember who it was. It's not the point to call anybody out, but concerned about this pass rush outside of Kenyatta Jackson, who did get plenty of hype. And it was I don't know, when Caden Curry gets in the game, he's a high motor guy. He just hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Well, you're seeing what he can do now. I'm honestly wondering if maybe we should have seen more of Caden Curry rotating in with Jack and JT, not to take anything away from Jack and JT, but we know what Larry Johnson has done with rotations in the past. And we're seeing it this year with Bo Atkinson and CJ Hicks and some of the guys on the defensive line. Caden McDonald, I think you're right. We all knew he would be good. We saw it in those short yardage packages last year. But the move he did for the 4th down sack, he said, I just knew I had to do my best pass rush move and get to the quarterback. And it's it's that easy, huh? You just best move. It's like playing a video game, right? You hit the button that you go to all the time. And so look, I think this defensive line, like Caden Curry said, maybe no names, but people are going to start knowing their names if they keep playing like this. And I don't think that they're going to see much more difficult of a situation than they were in today.
Great stuff, Patrick. I'll let you get back to work. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Look at that background there. What a beautiful stadium. It's good to get a win there. Everybody sail home safely if you're there at Husky Stadium. Let's bring in Steve Helwagen live from the bowels of Husky Stadium. Steve, this is not Steve's first time covering a game at Husky Stadium. Not his first time covering a win at Husky Stadium. Steve, your main takeaway from this game tonight?
Let me make sure I'm framed in here properly because I was working on something else. But yeah, boy, oh boy, this did not start well, obviously. The first drive for Washington, for them to have scored on 21 straight possessions over 2.5 games, get 8 yards on the first play, and you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to move it right down the field. After the first play, you're thinking they're going to take it right down the field and keep this string going. And who knows when Ohio State will get it stopped. Well, I don't know what they were doing on the next 2 plays. They got stopped for no gain, and they had to punt. And so, from the very first drive, you're sitting there saying, man, this defense wasted no time making the statement that it's going to be a long day for the Washington offense. But then what was just totally crazy was the Ohio State defense or offense couldn't capitalize. They turned it over on downs there at the 5-yard line when they can't even pick up a yard on 4th and 1 at the 5. And then they fumbled the punt with Brandon Ennis fumbles the punt. And, they ran whatever it was on that drive, 7 or 8 plays in the entire first quarter. So the first quarter was forgettable, but they dominated, and I mean dominated the last 3 quarters. I love to say this: slam the car door on their head. That's what Ohio State did again today, and
right.
It was blunt force trauma with the defense. You go into a loud stadium, and you're worried about whether your offense can communicate and get the signals and all this stuff. You don't have to worry about the defense. The noise really isn't going to impact them a whole heck of a lot. And there's not a lot of it when the home team has the ball anyway. So unless they make a big play. So defense travels. We learned that. And this defense is tough. That team was averaging 55.7 points per game and some ungodly amount of yards per game. And Ohio State just slammed the car door on their head. I mean, that's all there is to it. Caden McDonald, Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, he had a couple tough plays where he got juked, but he had a big sack when they had to have it. So, my goodness, 11 tackles for Caden Curry, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, a partridge, a pear tree. He had it all, man. He did it all. And, Larry Johnson, Matt Patricia, I mean, what these guys are doing is at a different level. It's just at a different level. And this result has to send shockwaves across the Big Ten, because anybody who fashions themselves as some kind of offensive juggernaut knows you better pack your lunch. It's going to be a long frickin' day when you line up to play against Ohio State. So to me, they showed me so much in this environment today to do this to this offense. So these guys are going to go out and score 30 points in most of their Big Ten games, and they had 2 field goals today. So to me, that really says it all. Did not like the first half play calling. 2nd and 8, running the football. Didn't really want to put too much on Sain's plate deep in his own end. I get that, I suppose. But, I tweeted out there right before halftime, or right at halftime, Jeremiah Smith had caught the touchdown for his 4th pass catch of the day. And I said, Jeremiah Smith has 4 touches, which is 4 more than Carnell Tate, Jelani Thurman, and Max Clare combined, and those are your key playmakers. And they just weren't putting them in play. I mean, they can't make plays if they don't have the ball. So to me, it took them a while to calibrate. I think offensively, that was a clutch drive right before halftime, obviously, to punch it in and convert it on 3rd and long. That was a great play by saying, gutsy play, stood in under blitz pressure, delivered that ball right, in perfect range. And obviously the guys lined up on the left side know full well what's coming. They're throwing the ball to Jeremiah Smith. So as soon as he catches the ball, they are blocking downfield and putting him in the end zone. So that was critical as well. I want to say Roberts and maybe, I don't know if it was Donaldson, but somebody else was split out there with him. And I think it was Donaldson. I think they went empty and he went out there, but they sold out to get him into the end zone and makes it 7-3 at halftime. I mean, that's huge. Washington has to feel like they've outplayed Ohio State, for an entire half of football, and they're behind 7-3. And Ohio State missed 2 golden scoring opportunities and still leads. I mean, the Ohio State left 10 or 14 points out there on the 4th down loss at the 5 and the fumble by Ennis. But second half, they did. That drive to start the second half was beautiful. They should send that one to the Louvre. 13 plays, 75 yards, and Julian saying 8 of 9 passing for 62 yards. He and Jeremiah Smith came out and said, "We know you cannot stop us, and this is what we're going to do." And he hit him 4 or 5 times on that drive right down the field, and they were able to punch it in and grab control of the game at that point. When they scored that touchdown to go up 14-3, I never had a moment where I considered Washington was ever going to win this game.
I was the same way, man.
It was over.
I agree.
And we said that. We were sitting there with Andrew Gillis, is that his name, from Cleveland.com, sitting there in the press box. And he's like, it's their old adage, the last four of the first half, the first four of the second half.
Middle
Win
eight.
those two segments, the middle eight, win those two
Yep.
segments, and you're going to win the football game 9 times out of 10. And that's exactly what they did. It went 7-3, then 14-3. And I was like, game over. You
Ball
know,
game.
like you're playing the old Pac-Man video game. Game over light is flashing. So there was just 22 minutes of clock time left.
I agree with you. It just felt like the game was over at that point. Like, and then
Yeah.
I always like asking you and Pat, because I'm not there. I haven't even seen it yet because I'm doing the show. Anything post-game interviews that stood out to you that we need to know? If not, that's fine.
No, I think you can tell from Ryan Day that he really appreciates what's happening with the defensive side of football, and that frees him up. He knows he can trust Matt Patricia and Tim Walton and Guerreri and Laurinaitis and Larry Johnson to get and all those staffers that are working on that side. The guy they brought in, who was Patricia's, guy, as well from the pros. They can trust those guys to solve whatever the issues are. They'll get it solved. They have an answer. This was an incredible Washington offensive team that they shut down today. So to me, I think he's relieved in knowing now I've just got to come up with a few things offensively to smooth out some rough edges. And great to see Bo Jackson. He's the lead back now. There's no question about it. He was up to the task against a rugged Washington defense, and he played a great game. He didn't get his 100, but that's immaterial. They got the win on the road, and that's all that matters. You win. The best part of being 4-0 and 1-0 in the Big Ten is a chance to be 5-0 and 2-0 next week. And Minnesota kind of resurrected their season, beating Rutgers, they're 31-28. And they're going to come in and try and spoil the homecoming next week. I don't know that they're capable of doing it, but should be a fun atmosphere at the stadium next Saturday night. And then Monday, we should find out the Illinois time. Illinois, man, to gut one out against USC. Jeez, oh, Pete, I thought they were dead and buried. And, man, USC, they are what we all, as fraudulent as we thought they were. So,
I'll get you out of here on this, my man. 2 big games about to kick off. If you are a betting man, and I know you are,
I like the home team.
As am I. You like the home team in both. So
I like
Oregon
the home
at
team
Penn
in
State,
both.
Alabama at Georgia. So you're Penn State and Georgia, huh?
Yeah, and this is the crazy thing. Lanning has won any number of big games. He's Big Ten champion last year. Beat Penn State. I mean, he's won big games.
Beat Ohio State.
James beat Ohio State once. James Franklin.
Not the second time though.
Big game James, as people derisively refer to him, he's 4-20 all time against AP top 10 teams. And, there comes a time in your life where it's put up or shut up time, bro. And white out at home, if you don't get it done tonight in that atmosphere, you never will. So, plus they got to go to Ohio State later on. They got to get this one in their back pocket. And if they win this one, I think you'd feel pretty good about an Ohio State, Penn State matchup, but so much football left to be played.
All right, man. I'll let you get back to work. Hopefully you guys can get out of there and get back and see the second halves of these awesome games this evening.
That's the plan, bro. That's the plan.
Did you anybody go catch fish at the fish market downtown?
Yeah, I went down there, but it was closed. It was a little after hours last night. But I was down there. I went to Tom's Watch Bar last night, and this is my endorsement for Tom's Watch Bar. They have every baseball game, every college football game. I'd love to be over there right now watching all these games unfold, because they have taken what Champs had, which was good food and some TVs, and they have completely mastered it. So I don't know if we even have one in Columbus, but Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Seattle all have them, and LA at outside the Staples Center, they have one. But that's the place to go to watch a game, get something to eat, have a couple pops.
Maybe have some salmon too. All right.
Yes, they do. They have salmon.
I bet. I bet that's fantastic. Whatever it is, I bet it's fantastic. All right, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
All right. Take care.
Yep. See y'all later.
Steve Helwagen. All right, Bev, you have a question? Bev says she has a question. I haven't seen your question, Bev. She's like, answer me. You post your question again, Bev, unless you're just trolling. Then I'll just block you and ban you. All right. Yeah, Caden Curry, as some of you have said, as we said to lead off the show, that stat line is like straight out of like a dream scenario. 11 tackles, 9 solo, 5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks against a really good offense. The offensive-minded head coach in Jed Fish at home in a tough environment. I mean, that's fantastic. All right, yeah, Bev, sorry, Bev. Well, let's give Bev one more chance, just in case she thought she actually asked a question and she thinks I'm ignoring her. Last chance though. Could not be more impressed with Caden Curry. Couldn't be more impressed with Caden McDonald. They need another defensive tackle to step up. Tywone Malone's okay, and that other defensive tackle needs to be Edric Houston. And I think he will. This is good coaching. Tough love. And Bev says, "Sorry, my nephew stole my phone." We're going with that. Listen, I'm in a good mood. I'm not gonna. It's all good. You said we have somebody comparing Caden Curry to John Simon a little bit. I mean, I would say like John. I mean, I see what you're saying, especially the motor. Simon was a little more stout. I think Curry's a little quicker, but I see what you're saying. All right, Bev. We gotta get you out of here. I'm just gonna put you in. I'm not gonna block you, Bev. I'm gonna put you in timeout though. Yeah, I couldn't be more impressed with this team. So Minnesota coming in next week, and then what? At Illinois, at Wisconsin. At Wisconsin will not be. I mean, typically going at Wisconsin, no matter what, it gives you a little trepidation. Not this Wisconsin team. I almost feel bad for Luke. They're terrible. But Illinois will be a tough game, and I wouldn't write off Minnesota. It's not. I mean, Ohio State's going to overwhelm them. It's a rather pedestrian Minnesota team, but PJ Fleck always has them as a solid team, so it won't be an easy win next week. But I'll tell you what, Minnesota's not as good as Washington, and Ohio State's not playing at Washington next week. They're playing at Ohio Stadium, so I like Ohio State's chances. Wow. Like I said earlier, if you made me pick between Ohio State or the field, so I get any other team in college football to win the national championship, or I get Ohio State, I would take, if I had to bet something that I actually cared about, I would take the field just because the percentages would be with me. But if I had to take one team to win the national championship, take the scarlet and gray glasses off. So look at it like, who is the best team in the nation? It's Ohio State. And it had nothing to do with still basking, even though we are. They just look like the best team in the nation. I mean, who else is up there? Georgia, we'll find out about Georgia. Will we, though? I mean, Alabama's not that good. And here's the thing about Georgia. Georgia's right there because not concerned, because I wouldn't be concerned at all if Georgia wasn't good. My question about Georgia was quarterback, which is a huge question. If you don't, and I know they won back-to-back titles with Stetson Bennett, but Stetson Bennett was a solid, good college quarterback. I didn't think Gunnar Stockton was going to be a good college quarterback, but he looks pretty good. Is he great? No, but he looks good. Really has been clutch this year. So Georgia's going to be a problem. The winner of Penn State, Oregon, not a true knockout game, but it kind of feels that way. The winner of Penn State, Oregon will be in the mix. There'll be other teams in the mix as well. But, man, I love what I'm seeing out of Ohio State. And what we're seeing out of Julian Sand right now, they haven't even, taken the training wheels off yet. And he looks great. Wait until they actually unleash him. I love this offensive line. Now we know Bo Jackson's RB1 for sure. Even though he hasn't started a game yet, he'll never not start a game unless he's hurt. Any game Bo Jackson plays – for the rest of his Ohio State career, he will start. He will either be hurt and not start or play and start. There will not be any of this bring him off the bench. So you look at this offensive line, this group of wide receivers, best tight end room I can remember at Ohio State 1 through 5. Julian saying the way he's playing a quarterback. And that's the second best part of this team is the offense. The best is the defense. They got the best defense in the country, and this offense is really good as well. Very impressed with this team. Very impressed. The 4-0 Buckeyes. Best thing about 4-0 is the chance to go 5-0, which they will next week. Hey, thank you to all my guests, and thanks to all of you. We had a very, very large, hugely large live audience. I appreciate you guys very much. I know you have a lot of choices. You have a lot of stuff to do, especially on a Saturday night. Thank you so much to all of you, and thank you so much to all of my guests. All of them came strong. Heath Schneider, the debut of Garrick Hodge, the newest member of the Bucknuts family. Mark Neal, my good friend, going a little old school, bringing Mark Neal in. And then, of course, boots on the ground, live from Husky Stadium, Patrick Murphy, Steve Helwagen. So thanks to all my guys out there. Heater, Garrick, Mark, Pat, Wagon. Thanks to all you guys. Appreciate it very much. And thanks to all of you Bucknutters. Keep it locked to Bucknuts. We're going to have more coverage the rest of this evening, throughout tomorrow, and, of course, throughout the week. So thanks to all of you. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.